Welcome to the Intuitive Hour with psychic medium, author, and intuitive life coach, Michelle Beltran. The Intuitive Hour will empower you to learn how to magnify your intuitive voice. Listen in and expand your understanding of what it means to be psychic and how to awaken, amplify, and trust your inner voice.
Hello, everyone. Here we are, another episode of the Intuitive Hour. Awaken your inner voice. As always, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here with me today. All right. Today we are talking about knowing when our practices are actually working. The short answer is you will just know. Identifying psychic ability is not rocket science, and like any inborn talent, your abilities are already at work. You don't have to follow complicated routines or rituals and belief systems or pledge your undying loyalty. If you think you exhibit psychic abilities, you probably do. The only job you have is to identify whether or not those abilities go above and beyond the ordinary. You decide when, how, and to what extent you will use your abilities. It is an absolute choice that you make. Research on the subject of psychic skills may lead you to believe that pursuing a career or avocation as a psychic is a complicated, long-distance run to the finish line. It is not. The simple truth is that any raw talent requires training. While a person may have been born with a talent, it takes professional training to make the most of that talent. Famous artists and musicians had mentors and teachers or served as apprentices. Training is giving innate talent over to study. It's talent that becomes a skill. Your major concern should be how to take a rational approach to experiencing everything psychic and then determine whether or not such experiences are actually for you. You want to ask yourself some of these questions. That is, do I pay attention to my random thoughts and feelings? Have I begun to see connections as something bigger and more important? Is my overall awareness of people increasing? Is my awareness of emotions and spirit increasing? Am I noticing the possible implications of something more attached to an object? Are you more aware of your surroundings, sights, sounds, textures, and smells? You also want to consider asking yourself and looking into working to discover which psychic abilities you may have or may not have. What is your lean or your penchant in this regard? Do you spend quiet time meditating and contemplating what exists beyond the reality of this world? And finally, are you realizing that small, seemingly insignificant things are things from which to learn? Consider all of this as a gauge for yourself. If you can say yes to any of these questions, your psychic abilities are at work. If you're not sure of your abilities, no need to despair. Take no notice if you feel unsure or if you aren't making quick response. or progress, you may not be aware of the benefit of what you're doing or the impact you're having on others just yet. It may come over time. You may be the victim of a misguided focus or a false belief about your influence and your gifts. Take time to find a quiet place where you can safely evaluate the insights you acquire and the possible quality of your psychic talents. Think about what everything means and what is pointing you in a particular direction and why. Be patient with yourself. Concentrate on your sensory attunement and be aware of the quality of your energy output. There are a number of benefits of developing your psychic sensibilities or clairabilities. The practice of any sensibility, your clairvoyance, your clairalience, your clairaudience, gives you access to other dimensions as well as an enormous responsibility. Psychic sensibilities enable each person to understand situations from a broader perspective. The development of your intuition and psychic ability is not unlike learning any other skill. It may be difficult at first, but it gets easier as you develop your expertise and become more proficient. There is a lot to sort out when you embark on a program to engage and work with your psychic abilities. A clear, theoretical base and practical techniques will help you focus your efforts. You will have to practice techniques and look into proposed theories, read and learn. You will need to learn to relax and relax on cue, making it easier for you to pick up non-physical cues, too subtle for beginners to detect. So here are a few benefits you can expect from your psychic experience and your intuitive development. You're going to notice less stress and less anxiety in your life. Much more creativity than ever before, perhaps a desire to begin playing an instrument, taking a new course in dance. You'll have glimpses and forecasts of what's ahead on an intuitive, subtle level. You'll notice improved relationships and communication in those relationships. You'll also have a sense of increased concentration and focus like never before. Decision-making will come easier. Also, increased discernment about matters and issues in life for yourself and others. Finally, enhanced connectivity with the universal matrix, Akashic records, and your own internal knowing and self. These will be all ways that you will know your practices are working. All right, with that, we will bring this podcast episode to a close. I look forward, everyone, to meeting with you all again next week.
Thanks for listening to the Intuitive Hour with Michelle Beltran. If you like what you heard, please share our podcast with a friend. And be sure to visit michellebeltran.com to get Michelle's popular Develop Your Clairvoyance ebook.